Create upon my flesh. Create approach upon my.
There's no looking for crowd validation. There's no waiting for outside redemption. There's no collective bargaining to rely on. The awakening is you.
Tap my freedom.
Only you. That's what all this is about. The battle for your spirit and soul. There is nothing more important in this life for you or me than waking up. Once that's straightened out, the rest will follow.
Reflection on my flesh. The wealth of love, bear me a witness to the years. Tap my freedom. Let my freedom, let my freedom up. Take my freedom, forgive me.
How we perceive the world around us creates and reinforces the world around us. Once we become conscious and aware that this existing matrix we're witnessing is an arbitrary creation manipulated by power-crazed puppeteers, that is when the change happens. And the universe will tell you what to do from there. That's what you respond to. Nothing else. That's your job. That's my job. Don't shirk it. Enjoy your earthly suit, but rediscover who you truly are. We judge so much by how we think it will measure up to the world around us, rather than just express what we're thinking and feeling openly.
Take my freedom. Let my freedom up.
Whether with close friends and family,
Let my freedom up.
your peer group, or the message we pick up in public, we're being programmed.
Take my freedom, forgive me.
Programmed to not respond to obvious needs, but to strange, shallow, self-serving impulses, just like everyone else. Who's looking when you're sleepwalking? But there's a price to pay. Everything. Waking up costs everything. So what? What are you saving up for? Aren't you paying that price anyway, even if you're not waking up? Life always costs everything. You'll leave here eventually, like me, and the cost will be your life. How did you spend it? Consciously? Or trying to conform and using that to hide behind? to justify living as a comfortable, selfish, lazy brain donor to the system. That's the battlefield. You, me. It goes no further. The only thing is, for conscious, spiritual reality, there is no predator. That's the secret. We are eternal consciousness having an experience. We individually have to change first. We have to commit to consciousness, get free of entanglement, and live a conscious life. The rest has little meaning until we get out of the matrix. It's you. It's me. Your personal world and experience is the only one you'll ever know. Just let consciousness be your guide, but act on it. Don't let them take your freedom.
From the north to the sea, the dragon whispers her name in the east. Cold giant throne holds a boy barely grown. Crown placed in lies. You win or you die. The watcher waits on the northern wall. A doctor picks up a warrior's sword. Cold giant throne holds a boy barely grown. The crown laced in lies. You win or you die.
How come the people in England, Scotland and Wales accept that one man or woman, king or queen, is above all, and then, claim they live in a free country? You don't. I mean, this idea of royal and sovereign, it took me quite some time to figure that out, that royalty and sovereignty have absolutely no relation to one another. There's no link other than, well, of course they're sovereign, because everybody is. But many, many people have assumed that the term sovereignty is associated or synonymous with royalty, and it is not synonymous. It may have become synonymous in certain circles, but it itself, linguistically and what the words mean, they are not synonymous.
A brother bound to a love he must hide. The younger's armor is worn in the mind. Old giant throne holds a boy barely grown. A crown laced in lies. You win or you die.
The beast is not the invisible thing that they make us think about it as like a big crown, like the corporation. It's people that are doing this. People. People here, people there, people everywhere.
A raven flies from the north to the sea.
independence is not freedom.
Hear my voice blowing on the breeze. Know your faith, know your history. As I am now, you one day will be. Face your past, then face your destiny.
Scotus considered the question of what constitutes entitlement to rule, and he gave an answer that was remarkable in an age when birthright in general were ideas central to people's concept of a monarch's right to be monarch. Scotus's doctrine was that no one has an indefeasible birthright to rule.
Now you may live a different place, brought up and lived a different way. But if you have our blood in your veins, then you will know us, know who you are.
It seems to be too much emphasis on this declaration of our growth in a current 21st century context. It lends fuel to propaganda of the occasional anti-English racism which sometimes lurks between underneath Scots culture.
This was a document that came out in 1320. If somebody wants to read that in the 21st century as an anti-English document, then they need to get an education.
Now here you are, standing next to me. Come take my hand and walk with me. If you could feel the peace in our hills and glens, you would know it's where it all began, and you would know who I really am.
You know, once the caterpillar stops and decides, okay, apparently that time has arrived, it disassembles itself inside its cocoon. It completely disassembles itself at a genetic level, and it restructures itself completely. And in the middle of all this, it's a big, sticky, gooey mess, but yet it forms a butterfly every single time. If you interrupt it at the wrong time, of course, well, you get what you get. Some of us are going to mess up. We're going to get squished. What can you do? It's going to happen. Some of us are going to become butterflies.
Things have been going wrong long enough to know everything is right. Been walking in the dark long enough to know I've finally seen the light.
When someone awakens to the true nature of the manipulated world we live in, as well as the vast resources at our immediate conscious fingertips, it takes some doing to fully realize what that information means, as well as the vast implications on your personal life. It can hit hard and may need some time to be digested. How it affects each of us individually is really a question of simply putting what we've learned into action and trusting the universe for the consequences. I don't think there's time for much else. In fact, there never has been. If you know the truth, what are you waiting for? While many are hoping for some kind of soft peddling of any kind of action call, it's not a set formula. You just find out and you react. And just that takes some doing. Breaking off the rust of your true self to animate and start to call the shots that were previously hindered by lifelong programming. True responsibility.
Even the blind man can tell when he's walking in the sun. Walking in the sun.